BMW just got caught testing a motorcycle nobody asked for, in a class that didn't even exist yesterday. Spy photographers managed to capture a prototype that looks almost deliberately positioned between the beginner-friendly F450GS and the more established F800GS and F900GS. And that raises a rather uncomfortable question. Is BMW genuinely filling a gap in the market, or is it simply finding a new place to reach into your wallet? Let's break down the photos, look at BMW's strategy, and ask the question that nobody at BMW may want to answer. Let's go back to November 2025. At EICMA in Milan, BMW introduced the F450GS, replacing the aging G310GS after previously showing only a concept version the year before. The bike was positioned as a fresh start for the entry-level segment, partly driven by growing market expectations in Asia, with naked and sport variants expected to follow. However, according to our sources, that launch was not the full extent of BMW's plan. The F450GS was only the opening move. The real story is the arrival of a second adventure motorcycle wearing the GS badge, positioned above the F450GS but clearly aimed at the middleweight segment rather than the flagship territory occupied by the F800GS and F900GS. Spy photos show similar design language around the exhaust and chassis. And this is where things start getting interesting. BMW's manufacturing partner, TVS, which currently also produces the F450GS engine in India, uses an upgraded version of the same twin-cylinder engine for its premium Norton brand in the Atlas and Atlas GT. That engine has a displacement of 585 cubic centimeters and produces 70 horsepower. So, is BMW simply borrowing Norton's engine? Not exactly. And this is where BMW has yet to provide any official explanation. The prototype caught on camera shows several significant differences compared with the Norton unit. Norton's twin-cylinder engine uses a conventional 270-degree crankshaft, which has become something of an industry standard. BMW's F450GS, meanwhile, uses the unusual 135-degree configuration. The engine displacement itself remains a mystery. During testing, BMW is reportedly using the 755 cubic centimeters Honda Transalp and 689 cubic centimeters Yamaha Tenere 700 as benchmarks. However, because BMW already has the F800GS and F900GS, producing 87 and 105 horsepower respectively, the new model will need to remain comfortably below both. Most likely, output will land somewhere in the 65 to 70 horsepower range. That figure makes sense because it would allow BMW to avoid overlapping with its more expensive models while reducing the risk of cannibalizing sales of higher-margin motorcycles. The chassis, however, appears to take more inspiration from BMW's upper-tier lineup than from its entry-level models. The prototype uses a steel bridge frame that looks more closely related to the F900GS, along with a similar braking system, a 21-inch front wheel, and an 18-inch rear wheel, the classic proportions of an adventure touring motorcycle. The body panels are still clearly part of an early prototype and look fairly rough. But the headlight design already gives off vibes reminiscent of the flagship R1300GS, only without the signature GS beak for now. In other words, BMW appears to be putting flagship design elements onto a middleweight motorcycle. You can decide for yourself who this strategy is really intended to impress. Even the motorcycle's name is still uncertain. The F600GS would make sense, following BMW's naming logic while matching the rumored engine displacement. Or BMW could revive the old F650GS name. Nostalgia can sell, and BMW certainly understands that. Either way, don't expect an answer anytime soon. According to our sources, this prototype still requires significant development, and an official public launch is unlikely to happen before 2028.